Oh, yes, the top 10 continues with another good week, guys, for USMNT players abroad and at home. How is the weekend going? Thanks to everybody who watched and liked and subscribed on the last video about the U20 World Cup roster. That starts in less than 2 weeks, first week of October. So that's exciting. If you haven't checked out that video yet, now would be the time to do so. How are you guys doing? What is up with you? Are we having a good time? What you been doing on a weekend, guys? What's been happening with your weekends? My weekend's been very busy between watching soccer, doing some other stuff. Went to a friend's party last night. Hey, Walter, how you doing? Andrew Plowman says, thanks for covering. Of course, we are going to continue to cover on this channel until we get the other one back. Green Great Basin, I'm doing good. Larry Flacco, not much. What are you doing? Weekend's been good, Austin. Been good. Was at a party until late last night, so didn't get as much sleep as I would like. Tony, watching soccer. What game are you watching right now, Tony? Are there any games on right now? Or are you just watching replays? Tony says Tillman goal. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Tillman had a good. I don't think his overall game was that good, but I think the goal obviously makes up for the performance. Okay. Pete, love to hear some good news about U.S. soccer. Watched the Macwell video and it made me sad. Which video are you referring to, James? Oh, Tony's not watching now. Just got done watching Barcelona play, says Larry Flacco. Good. Good. Is Lamine Yamal still playing well over there? Bournemouth, boring. Evan Noonan, we've got a Phillies or Eagles fan. I'm sorry, Fly Eagles Fly. I'm guessing if you're a Eagles fan, you're probably a Phillies fan as well. Did Bournemouth win, Tony? Did they win today? Pepe was meh today. I didn't get to watch the PSV game, although that would have been a good game as Eredivisie games go. PSV Eindhoven versus Ajax. MRM, haven't seen much professional soccer. I've been doing the soccer dad thing all weekend. Even better. Why watch soccer when you can take your kids and watch them play and, hopefully help them have a good time and enjoy and love the beautiful game? Who is still injured? You mean Pepe? Yeah, Pepe had a poor game midweek in the Champions League. And I didn't see the game today, but according to you guys, it's been poor. The YUS. So James is talking here about Macwell's video. The YUS soccer has no fans, aka pooped on immigrant soccer communities and let it become a rich man's sport. 100%. 100%. He is not wrong. It's been both exciting and very scary as a USMNT fan lately. Some players are doing well, many not so much. I'd say the important ones are mostly doing well, right? Tillman, Pulisic, Weah, Balogun was benched, probably rested because of the midweek Champions League games. Jedi's an interesting one, Tony. Apparently he's not fully recovered from their injury, and he's taking longer to recover from the injury than they expected. So that's interesting. Hopefully he can get back to form or get back from his injuries sooner rather than later. He wasn't even on the bench today. Richards might move to a big club soon, says Austin. To be honest, with Richards, I think he should wait until after the World Cup. It's a bit of a risk moving now. He's in a good place, playing in the best team in the world. He's trusted by his coach. He's trusted by the team. He's improving. He's getting better. I would be wary about making a move that could sort of mess with his form. If let's say he goes to a big club and then he gets benched for the second half of the season, then maybe he doesn't have quite the confidence and the reps that you want going into a World Cup. So I think with Richards, stay with Crystal Palace until the World Cup, and then afterwards, if there's interest from bigger teams, then maybe look at it, right? Can we still get Nathaniel Brown? He's already talked to Julian Nagelsmann. I think we sort of missed the boat on Nathaniel Brown a little bit because we had opportunities to talk to him and try to convince him when he was younger, but we didn't. We dilly-dallied. And now it seems like he's on Germany's radar. So I don't think we're going to be able to get him, which is sad because, if something happens to Jedi, and as we've seen over the last, 6-7 months, Jedi has not been available, and then we're stuck with Max Arsene. And if anybody thinks we can start Max Arsene in a World Cup and be fine, you got another thing coming because he's not good enough. James, Pete, your thoughts on the friendlies versus Ecuador and Australia? I don't think we're scoring on Ecuador since their defense is rock solid, but do you think we can score against Australia? We should be able to score against both teams, right? If we have our A team there and they're playing well together, we should be able to score on both teams. Yes, they have a rock solid defense, and Capier has been especially good, but it's not like, yeah, they defend well, but, we're going to have to break down defensive teams at the World Cup from time to time. And I think we can. It's just about having the right personnel on the field, playing with, intensity, with passion, a lot of off-ball movement. If you've got Balogun, Pulisic, Weah, either Tillman or Gio, right? Johnny and Adams, maybe McKennie. We'll see. McKennie hasn't been playing much for Juve lately. And that is, that's an interesting one. Ecuador allowed 5 goals in 18 games in World Cup qualifiers. True. But that doesn't mean they're impossible to score on. Tough to score on, but we've got to figure out how to unlock them. How do you think Reyna was for his 20 minutes today as well as his game last week? Well, last week he was really good. I was a little surprised to see him not play today or not start today. But you could make the argument, Leverkusen's a good team, and so therefore they want to go more defensive and have more just gritty players on the field to deny Leverkusen. Personally, I think there were moments where Gio could have helped them. When he did good, he came on, he did fine. He had about 15 minutes, including, extra time. I actually, the part I most enjoyed about Gio Reyna was his defensive work when he came on, because that's sort of the part that Reyna's been criticized rightfully for in the past, was his lack of, defensive hustle. And there was one clip, especially against Tillman, where Tillman was about to break out of the box, and then he went and tackled him and won the ball, and, it nearly created a chance for Gladbach. That's the sort of thing that will get him more minutes, even more so, because he's playing for a relegation threatened team now, right? So that sort of thing will get him more minutes, to be honest, than even goals and assists. But obviously he needs to be starting. We'll see what happens next week. Disappointing that he didn't start this week, but he's going to have to keep working hard. We'll see who the new coach is, right? It sucks because the old coach believed in him and wanted him there. And then bam, after one game, he gets fired. And so, or 3 games, I'm sorry, he gets fired. And then now Gio is, on the bench for the next game. So we'll see who the new coach is going to be. If it's Terzic, I'm not that excited. If it's Matarazzo, we'll see. But whoever the new coach is, if Gio works hard and plays well, he will earn his spot back. I'm not too worried in the sense that it's on Gio, right? He can work hard. He can continue to grind. If he's benched this week, fine. Come on the field and show something. And I thought he did. Okay. But, maybe they're also building up his full fitness levels, right? Because he went almost a year without playing. So it's possible that was part of it as well. Let's see what happens next week. All right. Let's take a look at the top 10. First up, number 10 is Quinn Sullivan. Quinn played just 26 minutes off the bench in midweek for Philadelphia Union against Nashville and had a beautiful, beautiful goal here. This is the sketch of it. To be fair, I don't really understand why the defenders backed off on him so much. But even without a ton of pressure on the ball, it was still a really nice goal into the top corner. So well done to Quinn, who's had a good season. I don't think he'll ever be a USMNT guy in the long run, but a good MLS player. He's still 21, right? So let's see how he continues to develop. I don't see elite speed for him as a winger. Maybe down the line more of a 10 or second striker. But, we have a lot of those in the team already. So I don't see him as a long-term option, but credit to him for scoring this really nice goal. Number 9 was our number 1, Matt Fries, who got a clean sheet against Charlotte in NYCFC's 2-win and also saved a penalty. He's really a penalty specialist. If you look at his record over the last year or so, it was a lot of penalties saved, both for the national team and for NYCFC. Sorry about that. This was to be fair, it was a poor penalty from Wilfried Zaha. It was soft and way too central. It was so soft, in fact, that Matt Fries was able to catch it. But a penalty save is a penalty save. And that'll be good for his confidence. That'll be good for his continued, he has 8 months trying to keep that spot with Matt Turner, yapping at his heels, trying to get his spot back. So at least we have some competition between the two, even if the competition isn't maybe the greatest in the world. For me right now, it's Matt Fries until he messes up or gives us good reason to not have him. I do feel better having Matt Turner on the bench, though. because if something does happen to Matt Freese, I don't think there's a big drop off between him and Matt Turner right now. Matt Turner is generally playing quite well for the Revs. But I think with this as a penalty specialist, that's really where Matt Freese has the edge. With their feet, both about the same. Neither is great with their feet. They can pass the ball out of the back under no pressure, but under intense pressure, neither of them's great with their feet at all. So we'll see. But keep an eye on him. Scallywag Joe played for Gladbach against Bayer Leverkusen after being benched last week in the 4-0 drubbing that they had. And actually, I thought played quite well. He played more of a wingback role in a 3-4-3, which maybe isn't his best position, but he got up the field. He was involved in the play, had 83% passing accuracy, 1 out of 2, successful dribbles, 2 clearances, 2 interceptions, 6 recoveries. 2 out of 2 tackles won, 2 out of 5 ground duels won, 1 out of 2 aerial duels won, and 1 foul drawn. He had a chance to score from a tight angle, and the goalie had to make a really good save to deny him. Otherwise, Gladbach would have gotten that goal. So well done to our boy, Scallywag Joe. I've never seen him play this offensive for Gladbach or the national team. So it was interesting to watch the way this interim coach is using him. We'll see how the new coach, whoever that's going to be, ends up using him. Right. But Poch still doesn't seem to rate him. So we'll see what happens in October if he gets called in or not. If he's playing and playing well for Gladbach, there's absolutely no reason we should not call him in. But, Poch loves himself some Alex Freeman. So we'll see. Zavier Go had a really nice bicycle kick goal for Real Salt Lake in midweek. They play again today. They did lose this game 4-1 to LAFC. But boy, was this a nice goal from Gozo. I think he's got 6 goal contributions on the season. He is just 18 years old. He's in that under 20 World Cup roster. So I'm really, really curious to see how he matches up against the best under 20s in the world. Because he has been quite good for Real Salt Lake and still just 18 years old. He also had 4 out of 7 successful dribbles, which was a match high from anybody in the game, including, Son was in that game. So well done. This was the goal from Gozo. Can't really see it super well. But the ball came in over his head and he did really nice turn and volley into the top corner. So beautiful, beautiful goal. Let's see what he does or what he looks like today. And more importantly, let's see what he looks like at the under 20 World Cup, because our program is really lacking in high level wingers. And I don't know if he's a high level winger. I haven't seen enough of him to diagnose it. Maybe couple of RSL fans in the chat can, chime in with their thoughts on him. Keep in mind that playing well in MLS is good, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to play well on a global level. So I think the under 20 World Cup will be quite telling about where he's at and, the level of player that he could be. But any bicycle kick goal, even in MLS, that's a really nice goal. He's going to make it onto the top 10. Chris Richards seems to be going from strength to strength. He was on the bench midweek against Millwall in their cup game and only played 29 minutes. And at the time he came on, he went and scored the winner. And it didn't end up being the winner, it ended up being 1-1. But he did also score his penalty in the shootout. I never really thought of Chris Richards as a penalty taker. But that's good to know. If we go to a World Cup and we're, looking at our top 5, penalty takers, maybe somebody in the mix. 1 goal, 1 chance created, 4 passes into the final third, 3 out of 4 tackles won, and 1 out of 2 ground duels won. He was also very good today against West Ham. It wasn't just his midweek game against Millwall. But like I said earlier, some people are saying, maybe he'll get a move to a bigger team. If I'm Chris, I wait until after the World Cup before going anywhere. I go put in a rock-solid performance for the men's national team in the World Cup, which will skyrocket his value, and then maybe look at it. The exciting thing about Chris Richards is he's entering his prime as a center back, right? He's 25 years old. He's not even really in his prime yet. And if he keeps this up, it's reasonable to assume that he's only going to go from strength to strength and could, in 2 or 3 years, be a starting center back for an elite club, because his rate of improvement over the last year and a half has been significant. The goal itself was kind of scrappy. It sort of bounced around the box and it, fell to him loosely, and he managed to poke it home. Good for him, a goal to goal. Then he also went and converted his penalty later. So congrats to our boy, Chris Richards. The big problem for us is who's going to be his partner at the World Cup, or partners, if we go with a back three. You know, Tim Ream probably will be there. I'm not 100% convinced that Tim Ream can defend at a World Cup level anymore, as he ages. But we don't seem to have a lot of options. Mark McKenzie for Toulouse today was fine. Hopefully he'll continue to develop and get better. But I think really the solution for us is a back three. If you have McKenzie, Ream, and Richards in a back three, I think we all feel a lot better about that, or Banks being one of them. Austin Trusty can also play in a back three. It'll be interesting to see what center backs Poch calls up in October. If any of CCV, Trusty, McKenzie, or Banks are there. Alejandro Zendejas, fresh off of his goal for the U.S. against Japan, played 90 minutes in a big Liga MX game against Monterrey and had 1 assist off a corner, 2 chances created, 3 out of 9 accurate crosses, 2 out of 2 accurate long balls, 2 out of 9 ground duels won. This was the corner, decent corner, well placed into the back of the net for a late equalizer. You can absolutely do whatever you want, Colin. He says if you want a back three, then you have to put Tyler Adams as the center back. Tyler Adams would be a terrible center back. And no, you can't play a back three plus a midfield destroyer. Yes, you absolutely can, especially when you're playing teams that are better than you, okay? The beauty of a back three and a midfield destroyer, Colin, is that it allows your wingbacks, Dest and Jedi, to get higher up the field and to contribute more offensively because you have a lot more cover defensively. Not only do you have a back three, but you also have a midfield destroyer in there. It also frees up your 10, whether that's Tillman or Gio or whoever, to focus on their job, which is creating, which isn't as easy in a 4-2-3-1 because you just have less defensive cover. So that's my thoughts on that. Does Zendejas make the World Cup roster? I mean, let's see if he gets called in October, November, how he continues to play. Let's see what he looks like. Poch seemed to indicate that his game against Japan definitely gave him pause. So it'll be interesting to see what Zendejas does and what he looks like. The good thing for him is that we're still quite thin on the wing, right? After Pulisic and Weah, there's no real depth chart after that. I mean, Luna can play on the wing. Haji can play on the wing. Obviously, Zendejas is in the mix. I don't think it's super straightforward. But he needs to keep playing well for the U.S. and obviously for Club America between now and then. But I'd say the chances are probably good if it's a 26-man roster. I'd say the chances are probably good that Zendejas is on it. Is he a World Cup level player? I don't know. But in terms of like who we have available, he might be. I'm very curious to see what guys like Gozo, Cole Campbell, maybe Mathis Albert, if he breaks through with Dortmund in the second half of the season, that could be a very interesting one. So we'll see. It's TBD right now. Before we continue with the top 10, we have a quick word about Patreon. Patreon is not only a great way to support the channel, it's filled with elite content I can't put out on YouTube. The top 10 that you see on YouTube every week, that's available on the Patreon with the actual clips from the game instead of just a sketched screenshot. After every USMNT game, I put a 20-minute breakdown of the game with my commentary and tactical insights, usually things I didn't always catch the first time around in the post-game stream. With the Under-17 and Under-20 World Cups coming up, I plan to do the same for these two tournaments just like I did last time. There's also extra content like young player scouting reports or all-touch comps from certain players of interest. Thanks to everybody who is already supporting the channel via Patreon. It really helps to keep me going and continuing to do what I do. So check out the Patreon if you want, guys. The top 10, instead of these sketches, will be videos tomorrow morning on the Patreon. Link is in the description. Let's continue with this. Number 4, Tanner Tessman, another frequent Pochettino snub. Scored the winning goal for Olympique Lyon against Angers, is how I believe it's pronounced. Played 90 minutes, was man of the match. 4 out of 6 accurate long balls, 12 passes into the final third, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles, 1 out of 1 tackles, 1, 2 out of 6 ground duels, 1, and 1 foul drawn. The goal was an opportunistic goal, to be fair. It wasn't, it wasn't a golazzo or anything, but a goal's a goal. It came off a corner. It was headed at the keeper. The keeper pushed it out into space, and Tanner was the first to react with his left foot and slot it home. So not exactly a, banger of a goal, but he also played quite well outside of the goal. And that's what's, I think, most encouraging about Tanner Tessman's performances, especially because Johnny's still injured, right? Johnny, I don't know what's going on with him. He was injured a little bit. Now it's saying he might miss the next camp. This would be a big opportunity for Tanner Tessman to come in and shine and to show what he can do. Because I promise you, he's a better player than, Luca de la Torre or Sebastian Berhalter or, God forbid, Christian Roldan. So good for Tanner. Makes the top 10 for the first time in a while. Number 3, Malik Tillman. Played 90 minutes versus Gladbach today. Like I said, I don't actually think he played his best. I think he was fine. But the goal was nice, right? The goal was really nice. 1 goal, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles, 1 out of 1 tackles, 1, 4 out of 9 ground duels, 1, 2 fouls drawn. Unfortunately, usually they allow it on Twitter, because if there's a game the same day, the highlights aren't usually out on YouTube. But usually they do allow it on Twitter. And for whatever reason, I couldn't find it on Twitter today, so I do not have a sketch of Malik Tillman's goal. It was a really nice first touch into the corner, though, and well done to him. That will be on Patreon tomorrow when that goal is available. That's 2 goals now for Malik Tillman with Bayer Leverkusen. And, in midweek in the Champions League, I didn't think he was very good. And I put on Twitter that he wasn't good. I will also say he's in a tough spot, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him, okay? It's a difficult spot for him because he's coming into a team that basically gutted their whole team in the summer. It's a jump up for him from the Eredivisie to, the Bundesliga. He's having to replace Florian Wirtz, who's, club legend there and maybe one of the best 10s in the world. And so it isn't easy necessarily. And I think there will be a betting in period, but he does need to start at some point, start showing more consistent performances. But, 2 goals will absolutely help his case and his confidence. So well done to him. It was a really nice goal, and they could have won it, but Gladbach scored very late at the end at the death to make it 1-1. The race for the midfield is Tillman, Gio currently. Yeah, I'd say Tillman's still ahead of him right now. But you know what? We have a battle there. You have a battle. And I think that's what you want. You don't want anybody to feel like their spot is too safe, right? And you want players that are at a similar level, right? Because as much as Poch tries to think that like people are going to be scared of losing their place to Christian Roldan, I'm sorry. The gap is so big, it's not really a competition. So you want guys who are at a similar level competing for spots, right? Like A-Rob should not be worried about Arfson taking his place in the same way that Des should not be worried about Freeman taking his place. Just the gap in quality is too big. But still, you want that competition. It's good to see. We'll see what Gio does the rest of the season. Right now, Tillman is ahead of him. So he could make that roster and be Tillman's backup, or he could start, but he's going to have to show it on the field. Do you think Brendan can be depth for winger spots, says Julian Vivas? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, because of the lack of depth on our team, I think the 4 guys who are probably right now, who should be, okay, I want to say probably because Poch has his own ideas and God knows what he's thinking. In my opinion, if you have Pulisic and Weah, and there's 2 backup winger spots available, you've got, Diego Luna who can play there. You've got, Haji Wright can play on the wing, even though he's playing as a 9 for Coventry this season. Obviously, Zendejas is an option, and then probably the 4th option would be Brendan Aronson, right? So those are probably the 4 guys fighting for the last 2 spots. Now that drop-off is still large, right? From Pulisic, Weah, even the drop-off from Pulisic to Weah is large, and the drop-off from Weah to, the third, the 3rd or 4th option is also big, but you do need backups. James with a good point here saying Haji can be a 3rd striker too. Yeah, absolutely he can. Absolutely, you can bring him as the 3rd striker who can also fill in on the wing. I would absolutely do that. He seems to be in Poch's doghouse though. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he does. Yeah, he's been playing for Leeds. Do you think we could try Dest on the wing in a pitch? Yeah, absolutely you could. If you're playing a 4-2-3-1, you could absolutely try Dest there. On the wing, you have Scally take his spot at right back and be more of a stay-at-home right back, and then you have A-Rob bombing up the field on the left, and it sort of becomes an inverted back three that way, and then you have Dest playing on the wing. I would do that. I just don't know if Poch is going to do that. So, Spencer Doherty with the great point. Brown could also be Pulisic's backup, but Poch doesn't believe in recruiting. Yes, he does not. This was Tim Weah's goal against the first American to score against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Played 78 minutes, 1 goal, 1 chance created, 1 out of 4 ground duels won. Not an easy game, and they ended up losing this one 2-1. But this was the goal. It was actually an interesting goal because, and you don't see it in this sketch, they won the ball very quickly in the, Madrid's half, and it was sort of 2v3 here. And Weah makes what seemingly an interesting run because he comes across the ball and makes a diagonal run into a little pocket of space. It gets laid off to him, and then he finishes it really, really nicely. And it was a great way to create space for himself. It was very reminiscent of his goal against Wales in the World Cup, where when you're in transition, Weah's not necessarily the guy who's going to break down a low block. He isn't the quickest 1v. I mean, he's quick, but he doesn't have a ton of 1v1 skills. But when he's in open space, he makes very good decision making with both the timing and the option of his runs. Not in Bernabeu, I don't think. Yeah, this was in the Bernabeu. This was in Real Madrid. This was in Madrid. So yeah, Pulisic scored against Real Madrid, Mac, but that was at Stamford. That was at Stamford Bridge. So yeah, he was the first American to score in the Bernabeu. Brian says that was to Mac. Gotcha. You were helping me out. Christian Pulisic, there's really nobody else who could possibly have got the top spot this week. For Milan, either scored or assisted all 3 goals versus Udinese. And he only played 63 minutes. 2 goals, 1 assist, 1 chance created, 7 out of 9 ground duels won, 1 out of 2 aerial duels won, and 3 fouls drawn. Excuse me. Sorry. What a performance. Definitely his best performance of the season, maybe his best performance of the year altogether. 6 goal contributions now for Christian Pulisic for Milan, and for me, has been their best player this season. The first goal was an interesting one. Like Weah, made a bit of a diagonal run here. It was laid off to him, and he didn't take a touch. He literally turned first time. It went through the defender's leg and squeezed between the goalkeeper and the near post. The goalie got down and actually got a hand to it, but it wasn't quick or strong enough. And so it ricocheted off the goalkeeper's hands and up into the roof of the net. And then this one was an opportunistic goal, sort of like Tanner Tessman's. It was shot at the keeper. Keeper spilled it. Pulisic, right place, right time, goes and scores. That was his second goal. Now, the assist was interesting because the assist, he actually didn't have possession of the ball. The defender had the possession of the ball near the touchline, and he chased him down, harassed him, and as the defender tried to dribble into space, poked the ball to Lyon, who then dribbled and scored. So it was a nice assist from Christian Pulisic that came out of pure hard work. Giovanni Reina, take note. Do more of that too. So Christian Pulisic, Milan fans are singing his praises. Obviously, he's playing well. What can he do? Can he hit 30 goal contributions this season, right? He's never hit 30 goal contributions in his life. I think it might be tough just because Milan doesn't have Champions League. Oh, I'm sorry. That was not Leao. Fofana. Thank you. My bad. Fofana, not Leao. Leao's been injured. I don't know if he'll hit 30 just because they don't have midweek games. So really all he's got is Serie A, and then the Coppa, Italian Coppa. But maybe, you never know. I mean, 3 goal contributions in one game, 6 goal contributions so far. Let's see what he does the rest of the season. Can he stay healthy? Can he stay consistent, right? Because at times he could be a bit streaky, He'll play well for 5-6 games, get a goal or assist almost every game, and then, maybe have a couple of games where he sort of disappears a little bit. Can he do it consistently? He just turned 27 now. So big game, or he's entering his prime, especially for an attacking player, right? And what is this season going to look like for Christian Pulisic? So that is the top 10, guys. Thanks for watching. If you are not subscribed to the channel, because some of you are watching because you see the video pop up and YouTube suggests it to you, but this is my second channel, 11 Yanks Soccer, because I don't have access to 11 Yanks right now. So just go double check if you're subscribed or not. I think if you're not subscribed, just hit that subscribe button. It helps us to at least build this up in case I never get that other one back. Hit the like button if you can. Check the Patreon if you can. Have a great rest of your week. Patreon subscribers, the top 10 video will be out tomorrow around midday. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging. Have a great rest of your Sunday and a good work week ahead. I will talk to you soon.